But I mean, we don't really even get into these issues because it's already well known. But you're angry, Dan. If you want to put out your opinion or set me straight, go ahead. But if you're so enraged because I'm giving my opinion, then there's no point, Dan. Now, let's try one more time. Go ahead, Dan.
I'm enraged because you're talking over me. That's why I'm enraged. You interrupt.
Okay, put them on hold again. We're going to continue this. We're going to continue this, Dan. This is how this works. See, I don't sit there like these old fogey radio shows that nobody listens to where one guy talks for an hour and nobody interjects. People like hearing back and forth. That's normal unless you've got, you know, Alzheimer's. What I'm saying to you, sir, is that you made your counterpoint to me, and then I made my counterpoint back, and you're calling that an interruption. I'm going to give you one more chance to not repeat that I'm interrupting and tell me your view.
My view is you've got it all wrong. If you don't know who Bella Dodd is, who wrote School of Darkness, a Catholic communist agent who went ahead and infiltrated the Catholic Church with over 1,000 men, also testified in front of Congress, clear back in the 30s and the 40s. If you don't know about that, you don't know what's going on as far as the battle within the Catholic Church. There's good and evil.
Well, sir, I'm not a Catholic, so I mean, I don't know a lot about about it. I've got Catholic friends. They seem like good people that are out there, you know, standing up against abortion and things. Catholics are some of the best people I've met. My whole thing is I'm nonpartisan, I'm non-denominational. I don't weigh into all these religious infighting. That's a tool of the globalist. And I do know that that the communists and others said they would infiltrate all of the clergy to take them over and corrupt them. And I am aware of that. And actually, we have talked about that here on the show. So listen, Dan, why don't you write an article and send it to Infowars.com with your points, and if it's well-written and sourced, we'll post it. You know, we have people that give us different views. Write an op-ed piece, send it to writers at Infowars.com. Okay, I appreciate your call. I'm sorry, Alan, to digress for 3 minutes on that, but, I mean, I just, the guy's really wound up. Do you have any comments to that?
Yeah, it's divide and conquer. It's quite right that the Catholic Church was heavily infiltrated. Malachi Martin came out and said that there was, in a hierarchy and going up downwards, there was a group of homosexual priests there who covered for each other and were up to many other things which were definitely not Catholic whatsoever. It's a bureaucracy at the top, and it's infiltrated, and it's gone its own direction. And since Vatican I and Vatican II, technically, they've helped to destroy what was left of the Church. We've got to understand that everything that was an institution that gave values to people has been destroyed over the last 100 years. And what was left even of the Protestant religions, I can't even relate to them anymore, because they're almost like TV evangelists with feel-good attitudes and never look at evil, just be happy. Everything has been destroyed along with the morality that goes with it, and society has been debased to its bottom level. The deviancy in society is rampant through all society now. Look at what they're watching on television. And I don't watch TV, but if I tune in once every 6 months to a year, I feel like I've come back from an alien planet and how far it's gone.
That's right, because they incrementally make it wilder and more sick and more mentally ill and just nonsensical. The cartoons are meant to screw the kids up and confuse them, so they'll be rudderless. And if you don't watch a lot of TV, then when you come back to it, it is just laced with propaganda, no matter what you're watching. I challenge people, you know, stop drinking tap water and then 6 months later taste how horrible it tastes. I challenge people to not watch TV for 6 months and then go back to it, and you will witness the programming. Go ahead, Alan.
Well, even in much music television for the youngsters is simulated sex. I mean, it's almost, they're almost naked now, as well as taking the rest of their rags off, whatever they're wearing, because that's what you're seeing on television. That's the message to the young, that anything goes. Remember, too, they said that they're going to make children obsessed with sex, even before puberty. And when they could do that, those children would never bond with a mate for life. It would not happen. Multiple sex. Julian Huxley, the first CEO of UNESCO, said that very thing. He said, we shall push this till it becomes an addiction. And he said they will not bond and get married. Therefore, they can copulate as much as they want as long as there's no offspring. That's what we want. That's happened. That's already gone and passed.
And they all write books about it. They all state it over and over again. And again, I didn't want to digress with Dan. It's just, to me, it's a complete divide and conquer distraction. All I simply said is that I couldn't imagine not being married and having kids. And so that was the point I was throwing out there. Let's go ahead and talk to Al in Texas. Al, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Alex. It's a pleasure to be with you. God bless you. I know it's got to be stressful, you know, your job, and I can't even imagine the stress level that you're in, man.
Well, we do what we got to do, but thank you, sir. Any questions for Alan Watt or statements?
Statements, really. I'd like to let the people of Southeast Texas know that we have got to use our own printers and ink to print up the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. We have got to get it out to as many people as possible. These documents themselves are really the most important things we have. And if people don't read them, if people don't understand them, then they have themselves to blame for what happens, you know, in the coming years. We are presently trying to organize a walk along the Mississippi River. Well, not along the river literally, but we're trying to get a bunch of copies of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights to give, hand out to people and, show them, the true documents and let them know what's really going on. They need to understand that these documents are law. This is what our nation is supposed to abide by. And
well, that's why we put free ones in with all the orders at Infowars.com. Al, I appreciate your call. Aaron in Texas, you're on the air. Does anybody have a question for Alan Watt?
Yeah, I was actually wanting to touch on the subject earlier about the mind control and about, I've been noticing it a lot on the television with Connect a Million Minds. I know Time Warner is the one who's putting it on the air, but I don't know if you've seen that commercial at all.
No, what is it? I don't watch very much TV. What is it?
It's an after-school care for children.
Oh, kids shows are just 100% brainwashing, yeah.
Yeah, it's a program that you put your children in. I've just seen it popping up recently. It basically just it talks about science and technology and how to progress your children's life, basically.
I've seen PBS shows, everyone I've tuned in with kids, about how great it is to take vaccine shots. Alan Watt, talking about children's programming, that's really bizarre when you watch it.
It is bizarre, but it's always been that way, really, since the 60s onwards. Now, people realize that script writers are paid by governments to write cartoons with messages in it to do with environment and many, many other topics, preparing them for the life that they will grow up into, which will be entirely different from their parents. So they're being programmed that everything that they will experience in their life is normal. And when it comes along, they're pre-programmed from kindergarten up. But the cartoons, it's amazing. Almost every author in Canada that writes novels lives on a grant from the government, because we're socialist here, you see. Same in Britain. And they must write in all the politically correct updates and messages for...
Well, that's what my dad pointed out. He said he's always seen propaganda in science fiction and novels, but he says now almost every book he buys randomly that's a bestseller is about how patriots are bad and gun owners are bad and drugging people is good and world government is good. I mean, we're just swimming in brainwashing, which is the prima facie evidence of a tyranny.
It's tyranny, but it is to be a scientifically elitist-driven society. They say that we're post-democratic now. Democracy is too cumbersome. It's too many conflicting parties. Therefore, it's out the window. Regardless of the semblance they still give you for party opposition, it's really just an act. We're post-democratic. They're all on board with it. It's just an act for the public. That's all they are. That's all politics is now.
Well said, Alan. Let's jam in. Let's jam in one more here, hurrying towards the end. Monica in California, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex.
Hi. What's on your mind?
Yes, I just want to say that I pray for you and your family every day.
Thank you.
And I've been getting upset a little bit. Everybody's been giving you kind of a hard time about the Gulf. And I think you're doing an excellent job covering it.
Well,
and
one guy called in and said I'd never covered the Gulf. And he said everyone was upset. It was a mass hoax. It's an attempt at petty programming to say everyone's mad at you. One caller said that, and then that becomes a self-fulfilling thing. We've been covering the Gulf probably too much, and they're using it as a distraction for their World War III with Iran. But stay there. I'm going to come back to you, Monica, and get your take on what's happening. Try to jam in J.D. and Laura, and then get a quick comment from Alan Watt before he leaves on what he thinks, anything else important that he thinks we haven't covered here. We'll be right back. Stay with us.